What's happening, Hoodlum gang? Welcome back to my channel. This your boy Hoodie from the Hood, and I'm back at y'all with another installment of the most notorious and dangerous cliques in San Diego history. We gonna get into it. I ain't gonna do all the, you already know where to find me at. You already know. If you don't, go look at another video. Speaking of another video, I did a video, I wanna say on Saturday, and I was in South San Diego in the Chula Vista area. So I figured, why not kick this video off with that section? So the first clique, and y'all already know if you've been watching this, it ain't no particular order. The first clique I'm gonna mention is the GLS, which was in that video, in the Chula Vista area, VCV, Barrio Chula Vista. They got a clique called GLS, Grande Locos. They got about 4 cliques over in that area. We've seen another one on the wall, South Bay Locos. They got G Street, and they used to go by Nutty Boys. I don't know if they still do, NBLS, Nutty Boys. Y'all let me know in the comments. I know they were like a clique, or not a clique, like a crew, like maybe taggers or whatever, and they became a part of Chula Vista maybe, I think I first heard of them about 2008. So y'all let me know. But GLS, very active clique, very deep, as you can see from all the graffiti going on that wall. If you haven't seen it, like I said, it was 2 videos ago. I put it out on Sunday, I believe. So go check that out. This was just, one of them cliques that I used to run into them in juvenile hall, county jail, whatever the case is, and they just seem to be deep and active, and you always seen the hit-ups, VCV, GLS. You will see South Bay, they probably the second deepest. You will see South Bay Locos, you will see G Street, and like I said, later on, Nutty Boys. But GLS, hands down, the deepest clique. I believe they be over there on 8th Street, kind of by the trolley station, and them apartments back there behind the liquor store. And yeah, man, that's GLS, Grande Locos, one of the most notorious. A few of y'all been hitting me up about this next one. And like I said, we give credit to everybody on this channel who put in work, who was out here name ringing bells. So with that being said, the next clique on this list gotta be the Tiny Hit Squad out of the Brims. Now, I believe there was a hit squad maybe back in the early 90s or late 80s or whatever the case is. But the Tiny Hit Squad, I don't know what year they came out, but I know they've been around. They gotta be around my age and maybe a little bit older. There's some a little bit younger. I don't know if they stopped recruiting. You know what I mean? Like I said, some of these cliques, after a while, they'll close the books. Can't nobody else join this clique. Y'all got to start a new clique. But as far as I know, I think you got people still claiming Tiny Hit Squad. I could be wrong. Obviously, I'm not in a mix like that for various reasons. But these dudes is highly active. They consist of Ocean View in the basement, which is 2 different sections of their hood. Ocean View being Ocean View Park, right off Ocean View, and then the basement being South Crest Park, on the other side of National. But yeah, Tiny Hit Squad, highly activated to this day. One thing about them dudes is, if you go poking the hornet's nest, you're gonna get what you ask for in return. Needless to say, people still gonna poke the hornet's nest, but it was never a matter of if the response was gonna come. It was when the response was gonna come. You could always count on them dudes to reciprocate your energy, and that's just me being 100% honest. So Tiny Hit Squad, GLS, yeah. Another one, I know I said I wasn't going to do hoods, but the only reason why I have to do this hood is because they came from a clique. They were a clique that turned into an official hood, and that's going to be TNS. TNS is in Southeast. They claim the area around 50th and Imperial, across the street from Lincoln High School. That being their main block, 50th Street. Willie James Jones, 49th. Like I said, across the street from Lincoln High School, it's a bunch of ran down apartments over there. I couldn't tell you what year TNS came out. I was hearing about them in the early 2000s. I don't know exactly when they became a hood. Probably in the mid 2000s. Maybe before that. Y'all would have to let me know. TNS, I've heard different things. I heard Trust No Soul. I heard Taking No SHIT, and whatever else other, saying they come up with to for what TNS stand for. But the main reason why I put TNS on here is because at a point in time, Southeast Locos was also in that area, and they was claiming 50th Street. To my knowledge, I don't know if they started off cool, but I know they beef now. To my knowledge, I don't know if Southeast Locos is still on 50th Street. Mind you, 50th Street is a cul-de-sac too. It right off 50th and Imperial, it's a cul-de-sac. It's not like a long ass street. But like I said, to my knowledge, I don't think Southeast Locos is still on 50th and Imperial. And that primarily has to do with the presence of TNS right there and becoming more of the dominant faction. Now you more so see Southeast Locos claiming 45th Street and 45 Park. I think they even claim 49th over by, on the other side of Lincoln High School. Yeah, so I always, for the most part, I see Southeast Locos, 45 Park. And that's like borderline Shell Town. So, yeah, man, TNS had to go on the list just based on going from a more so of a tagger crew to an actual Vario. I know y'all gonna try to correct me. Turning into an actual hood and kind of pushing the more established dominant gang back. So for that reason, TNS got to go on the list. Y'all also been hitting me up about these dudes, and I feel like I understand why, but a lot of y'all was more so fans, and y'all saying stuff that doesn't necessarily. Well, we gonna get into it. GPM, Gangsta Pimp Mafia. This is a clique that is out of the Skyline. We'll just say the East. That whole area is the East. That's what people call it. It's Skyline, O'Farrell, and even Parkside. You got members from all three of these gangs. Remember, I told you all these other cliques, every single clique that I named belongs to one hood. This clique belonged to 3 hoods, which made them deeper, which made their presence more out there. These dudes got a big area. Them 3 gangs being pretty much Paru. That they all Paru if you ask me, even O'Farrell. But GPM was very influential in Southeast San Diego, in San Diego in general. Like I said, these dudes was deep. They traveled everywhere. I got a homie, my boy Chuck T. If you see this, Chuck T. Chuck T grew up in Otay Ranch, which is way down going towards the border. You got East Lake, Bonita, all these nice areas. Dudes from GPM will be out there, You know, because a lot of these dudes was pretty boys. Y'all know where I'm going with this. A lot of these dudes, and that doesn't take away, not to say they wasn't with the business, not to say they wasn't out here getting cracking, they wasn't out here putting in work. What I'm saying is a lot of these dudes was pretty boys, and they traveled outside of their section so much that they was able to meet different types of females. So you will see them, like I said, in Otay Ranch, East Lake, Bonita, they'd be way in Mira Mesa, they'd be way in just far, just out the way, but they was messing with bad bitches. You know what I mean? They had them. These dudes popularized the double edge ups. These dudes had the S curls. These dudes had the slashes in their eyebrows. These dudes had the big chandelier earrings. These dudes had the scrunchy socks. I'm telling you, they popularized this in San Diego. I don't know where they got it from. I don't know if somebody came up with it, one specific member. I have no idea. I just remember growing up, especially in the early 2000s and the mid 2000s, these dudes was considered the pretty boys and the flyest, and they was the ones that the females flocked to. And you had certain individuals from other sections who started to, you know, dress like that. We had a handful of homies that was doing it. Not too many. I'd say about 10. You know what I mean? And you know, homies used to roast them and be like, oh, you niggas look like them niggas. You know what I mean? And don't make me, nigga. I'll pull out the roll call right now. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But these dudes set the standard as far as, I would say, fashion. You know what I mean? But a lot of us wasn't doing that. You know what I mean? And they made it hard on us. They made it hard on the Crips specifically because you know the stigma they had about the Crips, man. So, you know, a lot of times we'd be trying to holler and they just wouldn't be, the females wasn't going for it. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be honest with you. They the reason why, not me specifically, they the reason why homies be, you know, extra aggressive towards the women. Like when niggas go to the mall or to the beach or wherever, and we, you know, on that type of time, it didn't stop with the men, if you know what I'm talking about. Women was getting parked left and right too. And I think it was more so like I said, it wasn't me specifically, but I'm trying to think the homies would be like, fuck that, you know, that, I'm trying to not cuss. She with them niggas. Like she ain't finna give me no action. Like it was some hater shit. But anyways, man, these dudes, like I said, they had prominent members. To name a few, they had Lil Sleep, rest in peace. He was from O'Farrell. You had D Moss. Oh, these dudes was rapping too. I'm gonna get to that in a second. You had the Gator Boys. Now, I don't know what people's statuses is. I was hearing something. I know one of them went bad. I heard something about the other one, but I don't know. I'm not from over there. I ain't seen nothing, so I'm not finna. I'm just talking about back then in their prime reputations in Southeast. You had the Gator Boy, Demetrius Gator. If you watch Warren Cali, he actually did an episode on him. So y'all go check that out on Warren Cali. If you put in Warren Cali, San Diego, I'm quite sure it'll pop up. He got his own episode on there. But I'm gonna tell y'all another story when they came up to my school. Remember I told you I went to school in Paradise Hills. That's like in that area. I don't know if I told the story, but I don't know if I made a video about it specifically. But yeah, him, I believe Tuckbo from O'Farrell too. Man, it was a lot of them dudes, man. And like I said, they was, Norris was one of them. These dudes had reputations, man. These dudes was squabbling. They was, you know, putting in work. And a lot of these dudes that I just named to you right now, probably all of them, they didn't smoke or drink. None of them. These dudes was just on that type of time. like I said, they had the raps going on at the same time. So their popularity made them reach other areas to where a lot of these other cliques that I named was just strictly in the streets. You know what I'm saying? So that's why somebody who probably didn't grow up in the Southeast heard of GPM more than they heard of a Murder Gang or 211 or Blue Babies or whatever the case. You know what I mean? Because they were like the celebrity gang members. You know what I'm saying? Like they had like a different aura about themselves just based on, like I said, they traveled a lot. They'd go to the mall. You know, you'll crack a female. She live in Escondido or Poway or something. Now next thing you know, these dudes is way out there 20, 30 deep. You know what I mean? And this is how they caught a lot of people slipping too, because you might think you out the way and you way over here in Claremont, and next thing you know, you go to the store or something and you run into about 15 of these dudes because they over there fucking with some females. You know what I mean? And now they done whooped on whoever. And this happened a lot. So I remember they caught the homie. I'm gonna tell the story, Lil Tay. They caught the homie Lil Tay dog. He's gonna be in the comments hot. They caught Lil Tay dog in front of Hoover High School in East Dago on Elkhorn Boulevard. I think he said he was with some homies, but they was from West Coast. And I guess a car full of them dudes rolled by, and I want to say you got to tell me in the comments, bro. But I'm gonna hurry up and end this. But they rolled by, they banged on the homies banged back. They go whatever, turn somewhere, but the homies is already splitting up. Lil Tay say they already finna split up. So they, all right, shake hands. They walk that way. He go to the bus stop because he got to come, I think, to the set. I think he was living in the set by the park by that time. So while he waiting for the bus stop, while he waiting at the bus stop for the bus, they come back. But now he by himself. He said he with another individual, but we gonna leave that alone because that dude didn't help. He by himself. They park, walk up, whatever the case is. And I don't know if he said it was D Moss or if it was Lil Sleep. One of them asked him, he had his headphones on, and they was like, what's up? What you listening to? Now, mind you, I don't think when they banged on him, he seen exactly who was in the car. He just saw hands out the car. So he don't know that this is one of the dudes that just banged on him. And he told him, he said he took his headphone off and he was like, some Crip shit. And then he said, he was like, oh, all right, that's what's up. Then the bus started coming. So he said he stood up getting ready to get on the bus. And I think he got fired on from the side. Whatever the case is, they packed him out. But I know for sure he said it was Lil Sleep and D Moss and whoever else was there. But like I said, man, these dudes were more widely known outside of Southeast and outside of the city of San Diego, all over the county. And they had popular music at the time. So they may have seemed bigger than other cliques. Oh, and like I said, they clique consisted of 3 different gangs, so they was deep. I don't know if that equates to the most dominant as some people was trying to say in the comments, but they was definitely a staple in San Diego history. They was definitely with the business. They was definitely putting in work. And they definitely had a lot of the finest females in San Diego, and that's just me keeping it all the way 100, man. If your female was outside in the early and mid 2000s, skating ring, I forgot about that. 9 times out of 10, she messed with somebody from over there, and that's just the reality of the situation. Like I said, they was pretty boys. They had the double edge ups. They had the lines cutting. You know what I'm saying? You know how people say in Long Beach, the Insanes was responsible for the skinny jeans and the blonde hair and all that. Out here, these dudes would have been equivalent to that because they was doing something that wasn't along the lines of traditional dress codes. You know, everybody else got on 501s and khakis and chucks, and these dudes was coming way different. You know what I mean? Yeah. and I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if they was all copying the Gators or whatever the case, because them dudes was like, I think they black and white, so they had the little curly hair naturally. A lot of them other dudes was putting S curls and chemicals in their hair. I don't know who started that trend, but them dudes was highly active, homie. And yeah, man, that's gonna do it for this video. I got a few more. Probably the next video gonna be the last one, man. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments about the Cliccs that I named, and what was your experiences and run-ins with them. I'm out.